So, last class we completed verse number 41 and we also just chanted verse 42 to 44. Let us again begin by chanting verse number 41. व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्ध्यो व्यवसायिनाम्. So this verse we had looked at in detail. Vyavasayatmika buddhi means one who has got a very clear mind, very sure mind. There is no doubt about the goal in such a person's mind. So basically he is a karma yogi. His goal is to attain moksha and his entire lifestyle, everything is oriented towards that. For the others, there is no clarity. They go around, they have many options. There are hundreds of branches. They go around trying to find what is suitable for them. They add to their own confusion and finally they end up neither here nor there. So it's very important to have that Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Nishchinta means very clear, no doubt about the goal. Now let us move on to we will read all the three verses together. Yami mam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitaha vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmanah swargapara janma karma falapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishcharya gatim prati bhogaishcharya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhauna vidhiyate. So these three verses, now Krishna is going to talk about people who are not having that Vyavasayatmika buddhi. That means people who are not clear. So he is going to criticize. In the sense, he just wants to tell these people that you better make sure, get into the Vyavasayatmika buddhi so that you move towards the right goal. If not, what will be the consequences he is going to tell. So basically he says, "Oh Arjuna, these people who don't have Vyavasayatmika buddhi, they remain engrossed in doing actions which are of course prescribed by the Vedas. It is not that they are doing actions which are not prescribed by the Vedas, but who argue there is only the karma kanda part of Veda, which is who are full of desires and their goal is to reach heaven. So that is their ultimate goal, to attain heaven. They utter flowery words when they talk about many special rituals meant for attainment of pleasures, powers, and they also want to have better births in future. So they also know that they are going to be born again, but they feel by doing all this they will get better births. And in the 44th verse he says, for those who pursue pleasure and power exclusively, whose minds are robbed away by these flowery words, clear understanding does not take place in the mind. That means they don't get vyavasayatmika buddhi. So this is the gist of these three verses. Now let us understand these in detail. So basically, there are three types of karma, action. In fact, Krishna will deal with this in detail in chapter 17. So briefly, let us look the three types of action. One is called sattva action, sattvic karma. The second one is called rajasika karma, and the third one is called tamasika karma. Now, what is sattvika karma? The one who performs this does all his actions for the welfare of others. He doesn't bother whether he gets any benefit out of it or not. Of course, benefits will come to him, but he is not very much concerned about that. His whole idea is to do actions which will help others. So his mind is very clear, and this action is basically for mental purification. So all the actions that are done with the sattvic, which are sattvic karma, all the sattvic karma, they produce inner growth. In the process, external growth will also happen in terms of materialistic gains also. It is not that they will not get any of that, but their focus is not on that. Their focus is on inner growth. So all their actions are oriented towards the betterment of people around them, betterment of the society, betterment of the country. So their attitude is only for inner growth. So they are not worried about the external growth which will happen. So basically, this is what we call as karma yoga. So it is not doing something different. It is doing the same action which others also do, but with a different attitude. So that is what karma yoga is all about. The second type of action is rajasika karma. Here it is totally self-centered. It is done for for the better external growth of the person. So the person's total focus is what all benefits I am going to get. I should materialistically grow. I should have all the comforts. So basically, they are looking for external comforts. They are not bothered about what happens to others, whether others suffer or others benefit. They are totally self-centered. They work for their own benefit. In the process, if others don't get any benefit, doesn't bother them. So they go about their work totally self-centered. And the third type of karma is called as tamasika karma. Here again, these people are self-centered. They also work for their own benefit. But unlike rajasic karma, they don't mind harming others to get their benefit. So there's a subtle difference. In rajasika karma, the external growth is focused. So the external growth will happen. And because their intention is not to harm others in the process, they get some inner growth also, a very minimal inner growth. While the ones who do tamasic karma, they don't have any problem in putting down others, hurting others to achieve their goal. So their growth is in fact negative. they slide down. So, between all these three, the people who do sattvic karma, Krishna has already told they are the ones who are going to achieve the ultimate goal of attaining moksha. So now he is going to talk about the people who are focused on rajasika karma, the people who are materialistically oriented, because there is no point in talking about the people with doing tamasika karma, because they are anyway not going to bother about what he is going to say. So at least he is hoping that people doing rajasika karma will wake up. And in fact, most of us fall into this category, into the second and third category. The first category is very difficult to find people who do work for the welfare of others. It's a very, very small population. The rest of us are concentrated in the other two categories. A major population is focused on rajasika karma, looking for self growth in the sense materialistic growth, not the inner growth. So they focus their entire energy, entire life trying to accumulate this. And the lesser said about the third category, the better. Now, he says the characteristics of these people who follow rajasika karma. They are completely selfish. They are unintelligent. Unintelligent means they don't know, they don't have any discrimination. They cannot discriminate between what is permanent and impermanent. So they are totally focused on materialistic things. In fact, these people are also learned people. It is not that they are completely ignorant. These are also people who have studied the Vedas, but unfortunately, they focus on the karma kanda. As you know, the Vedas have got broadly divided into karma kanda and jnana kanda. Karma kanda is all the rituals are covered in that. So the Vedas never say you should not have materialistic things. In fact, the Vedas say you should have materialistic things, you should have comforts. But there is a limit to all this. You seek comforts to the extent possible, but if you are only indulging in comforts, then you are not going to achieve anything in life. So that is what. So these people know the Vedas, but they forget that the Vedas, the second part of the Vedas, which is called as the Jnana Kanda or Vedanta, they conveniently ignore that part of the Vedas. Their focus is only on the Karma Kanda. So they look for all kinds of, because the Vedas have, the Karma Kanda of the Vedas prescribe rituals for whatever you want in life. Be it property, be it family, be it any other desire you have, there are rituals to fulfill those desires. So it's clear that Vedas don't have any objection, otherwise they will not be prescribed in the Vedas. But the Vedas also tell you that ultimately you have to come out of this obsession for materialistic things and pursue the ultimate goal of moksha. So that is why the Jnana Kanda is there in the Vedas, the end part of the Vedas, which is Vedanta. So you need to go through the Veda Purva Bhaga or the karma kanda, go through all that, attain some kind of comforts, and then slowly move towards the jnana kanda. So that is why the varnashramas are also designed in such a way. The ashrama dharma, if you see, brahmacharya is the first ashrama where you brahmacharya is the first ashrama where you equip yourself to take care of all the things in life. But in brahmacharya, Bhagavad Gita also is a part. This was taught earlier. Unfortunately, such things are not available in today's context. So there's nothing great in, it is not that we are achieving anything great by studying Gita. People cannot claim, oh, I am studying Gita, so I am something great. It is something like going to school. Yeah, by going to school, you didn't achieve anything great. I mean, it's not something which is, oh, I am going to school is nothing to be proud of. You should go to school. Same thing, when you go to school, you should study Gita also, there's nothing great. But unfortunately now, what should be done is claimed as a virtue. If somebody is very honest, they say, and honesty becomes, oh, he's a very honest person. Everybody should be honest. There's nothing great about being honest. He's a very straightforward person. He does not take bribes. That's how you should be. So there's nothing great by saying that I don't take bribes. That's how you should be. There's no, it's not an extra qualification. So same thing, studying Gita is also what we should do normally. But unfortunately, our education system is oriented only towards getting material success. So brahmacharya is to qualify, most of us qualify for gaining material success. So we become engineers or doctors, or we whatever profession we take up. In fact, nowadays the profession is based on what kind of offer you can get, not on what job you can do well. So people choose, because computer field is now very, it's the field where you get paid well. So let us do, whether you are qualified to do that or not, whether you have that interest in that field or not, you somehow try and qualify in that field to get a good job. Then comes the Grahastha ashrama, where you actually have this thing to, that is where you start working, you start a family. So all the materialistic things you start gaining during there are basic things which are needed. So we need to go through that. It's also the time to do spiritual activities also. Because only a grahastha who can earn money can also donate. He can do things which are going to help him not only materialistically but also spiritually. So religious life is also a must. It is not that you just start earning money and then you start spending the way you want. There has to be some restriction. So religious life, a life prescribed as per the Vedas, is also equally important. Because people think money can buy everything. So their whole focus is, if I have money, I can get anything I want. Of course, you can get all the comforts that you want, but it does not guarantee happiness. Because that is something which has to come from within. And for that you need inner growth. And for inner growth, you need to do sattvika karma. So this is So they follow these people who are following Rajasic karma. They religiously do the ritualistic part of the Vedas for gaining their ends. They all the comforts, everything they need, they do all the religious activities. They go to temples, they go to various kinds of religious activities they attend, so that they can get more name, fame, money. So their focus is only on gaining all those things. But they don't have the emotional growth which comes only from the study of Bhagavad Gita. So they know how to earn money, but if there is a time when you lose the job, how to handle it? For that you need an emotional quotient. Your emotional quotient should be good enough to handle that phase, because there are always going to be some phases in our lives which are going to be down. There will be some phases where it is going to be up. So when you are down, only study of Bhagavad Gita or similar scriptures is going to help to tide over the bad phase. Whether you are working or whether you are doing business, everything, there is going to be some time, there is going to be a downward trend for everybody, because nobody is going up all the time and neither is everybody going to come down all the time. So this is going to be a constant up and down feature in our lives. To take care of this downward phase is the most important. And not to get carried away when you are up also needs emotional quotient, because people go over the moon when they are on the high and they destroy themselves in the process. And these people feel that life is to enjoy. Eat, sleep, enjoy, go around enjoying all the, you go for movies, go for all kinds of enjoyment, travel to different places. All this is not that it should not be done, but if you only focus on that, then there is something wrong. You are not going to grow. So their focus is to attain heaven. Ultimately, they feel that by doing all these rituals, their goal is to reach heaven. But they forget that heaven is also not a permanent place. Heaven is also a temporary place, and nobody knows what is heaven, what is available there. It's only what people say. Heaven means you can wine and dine all the time, you can get whatever you want, it will be all very comfortable. So these are all hearsay. Nobody has gone to heaven and come back and said, yes, I was there in heaven for so many years, I had a good time, these are all the things available in heaven. So this is all something which is, of course, we can neither say there is no heaven nor we can say there is heaven. There is no proof. But the place called Swarga is also there in our scriptures. It is not that there is it is not there, but what kind of experience, even Naraka is also there. So nobody has gone and come back and said this is the experience. It's just a hearsay. So people work towards going to heaven. So even if they attain their goal, ultimately once they all their punya gets depleted, they have to come back. So punya is the currency which takes them to heaven. And once that currency is over, you come back and come to a different birth. You don't know where you are going to be born. So they also assume that by doing all this, they will get a better birth next time, where they will have even more materialistic things. They will be born in a royal family. They will enjoy all the best of things in the next birth also, they think. So this kind of thinking. Ultimately, what happens is they lose track of the goal, or they have not set that goal at all. Unlike the person who has got a vyavasayatmika buddhi, who is very clear about the goal, these people are so indulged in materialistic things that sometimes they may even resort to adharma, because if they don't get what they want, they also are willing to compromise on certain values. They justify by saying, like we have heard people saying, oh, politicians are taking in crores, I am taking only a few hundred rupees. Even the auto driver says, I am asking only 10 rupees, these people are taking a few crores. So we always justify, because comparing with others, whether you take 100 rupees or whether you take 5 rupees or whether you take 100 crores or whatever, you are compromising with the values. So there is no doubt about that. The degree of punya and papa you accrue because of that could be different. But you cannot justify saying that others are doing, so I am also. So to that extent, people may come down from their stand and resort to things which they should not do in the normal course. So this is what happens when you are completely materialistic oriented. So when you don't get what you want, you also start compromising on the values. So this is, Krishna is probably giving a wake-up call to all the people who are in this category. In fact, most of us, I would say, that's why this ashrama dharma, from once you are through with your grihastha ashrama, as our next generation starts their life, slowly we are supposed to move into the vanaprastha part, where we slowly withdraw from the day-to-day things and allow the next generation to take over. Preparation for the final goal. So slowly you start spending more time in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, without the religious activities, even study of Bhagavad Gita will not be useful. So doing puja, doing japa, chanting, say Vishnu Sahasranama or any of those things, those are also equally important, because they prepare the mind for understanding the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is again going to tell in detail what kind of karma we should do. So this is before getting into the actual teaching of karma yoga. He told about the person who is very clear, and now he is talked about people who are not clear, who are wandering here and there in pursuit of worldly pleasures. He is just giving them a warning. Ultimately, you are going to come back and go through all these sufferings. If you feel, okay, the entire life I've enjoyed, I want to have a similar life again, it's up to you. It's your choice. But nobody in this world can say that every moment of their life, in fact, the number of times we have suffered is much more than what we have enjoyed. In between lot of sufferings, here and there we have enjoyed. So we remember the good things and we say, okay, I had a good time. That's how it should be. We should not cry about what things we didn't enjoy. But at the same time, if you feel that you want to have a similar life again, it's your choice to continue in the next birth also, hoping you will get another human birth with all the karma that you have done, and hoping that you will have the similar kind of facilities where you have what you had this time, and enjoy even more. Or maybe hoping you will be born in a royal family, or maybe as Ambani's son or Adani's son. So that kind of desire you can have, and orient all your activities towards that. So that's again, no, Krishna doesn't say you should not do that, but by doing all this you should also know the consequences. So you're going to come back again to this particular bhumi. In what form? You may have to go through some other forms. You may be born as a frog, and you may end up in a lab where somebody is dissecting you, or the frog legs can land up on somebody's dining table because that is a delicacy. So there is no guarantee that this will not happen to you. So here and now you have a chance. So that is what he is trying to emphasize. You are learned, you understand the Vedas, gain whatever you need from the materialistic part, from the karma kanda of the Vedas, but don't forget the goal, which is to attain moksha. So simultaneously, keeping your goal intact, do sattvika karma, enjoy the benefits that come through the process of sattvika karma without actually looking for the materialistic part, which whatever comes, accept that and continue doing sattvika karma with the goal in mind. So as you do that, the mind gets purified. The more the mind gets purified, the knowledge will get imprinted, it will settle down in the mind, which ultimately will lead to moksha. So these are 3 verses. The whole idea of Krishna criticizing is to give a wake up call to all the people who are following the Rajasika karma. It's time for you to wake up. Change your thinking. You just have to change your thinking from the thinking of me. Now start thinking of you, others. And once you do that, you will find that your mind is more relaxed. Your mind is more oriented towards the goal. So you can be very clear, even if you die at this point, when you start that goal, you will start off from where you did. But on the other hand, Rajasika karma is going to take you nowhere. It may take you to heaven, there's a possibility, but it will bring you back. And if you had compromised on certain things, values, in the pursuit of Rajasic dharma, you may even slide down further, and you may have to start from a very, very small, or even like I said, it could be a frog's life, or it could be anything even more lesser than a frog's life also. So with these 3 verses, Krishna has given a wake up call, or a kick in the back, so to say, for people following Rajasika dharma. The lesser said about the people who follow Tamasic karma, for them there is no hope. They will go through the same, again coming back, going through various sufferings, again going back. So that cycle will continue. But if you want to break this cycle, slowly from Tamasic, you have to come to Rajasika karma, then only you can come to Sattvika karma. Rajasika karma, those who follow, they can slowly orient towards Sattvik karma and attain the ultimate goal. So we will conclude with this today.